Hi, this is Christy at the West Regional Branch of the Mobile Public Library, and we're bringing you another video with our Share Your Story Military Memories. And today our special guest is Robert Samuels. Mr. Samuels, thank you for being here and thank you for your service to our country.
Quite welcome.
So, we wanted to talk to you about that service and maybe, when you entered the military and what branch and how old you were and anything to get us started that you'd like to share.
Thank you. I entered the military January 31st, 1967. You ask what branch. I'm not a comic, but I always tell people that there's only one branch of service,
Okay.
and that is the Army. But I entered in the Army in 1967.
Okay, all right. And where did you do your basic and
I
all
did
that good
basic
stuff?
training down, strangely, in Georgia, Fort Benning, Georgia.
Okay.
Originally, I am from Georgia,
Okay.
but I had moved to Massachusetts.
Oh, wow.
So when I entered service, I entered from Massachusetts, and I did my basic at Fort Benning, and I left Fort Benning and went to Fort Lee and did training, and from there back to Massachusetts at Ayers, Mass, Fort Ayers. It was a base there, and I stayed there for approximately a year,
Okay.
and I shipped out to Vietnam.
Okay.
That was my first tour
Right.
in Vietnam.
Right.
And strangely, I arrived in Vietnam on Tet Offensive, the beginning of the Tet Offensive. I was unaware at the time. I didn't know anything about Tet, but it became very apparent within hours after I had arrived. So I served a complete year.
Wow.
I arrived there on the 4th of February of '68, and I departed for February '69 back to the States.
Yes, sir.
And I was stationed in Fort Knox, Kentucky,
Okay.
and there for a while, and another tour back in Vietnam. And during that tour, I was medevac to Japan.
Wow.
And the only reason they sent me to Japan is the doctors down at Da Nang had malaria, and they did not have another specialist, so they medevaced me to Japan.
Okay.
And I was in Japan at the hospital there for approximately 2.5 months, and they sent me back to the States.
Wow.
And came back to the States and stayed there for a while. I went to school. Before I went to school, I was stationed at Fort Knox, and left Fort Knox and went to Georgetown University, Senior Army ROTC.
Okay.
That was one of the two of my best, I think, assignments that I had.
Okay.
I enjoyed it, being at Georgetown. It was different.
Okay.
We left there, and believe it or not, I left and went to Fort Huachuca, Arizona, to the Military Intelligence School, and from there back to Fort Knox. And my wife's sister and mother, they had previously stated they didn't think I was in the military because I had never been anywhere but to Fort Knox and D.C. Well, I got an assignment to Japan. So everyone was excited.
Sure.
We had, at the time, we had 2 kids, a girl and a boy. So we went to Japan, and I was there for 3 years. The kids enjoyed it. My daughter was, when we left, she had just got promoted to the 9th grade. And her brother, who was 4 years younger than her at the time, I think he was in the 5th or 6th grade. So we left Japan in 1980 and was assigned in San Antonio, Texas at 5th U.S. Army. And there was, I would say in the top 3, maybe my second best assignment.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. The work was different there, but I really enjoyed it there. And Texas, San Antonio specifically, being a military town, was quite different from any of the other military towns I had ever been in.
Okay.
The people were very friendly. They were pro-military. And San Antonio at the time had 5 military bases in that city. So it reminded me, the people reminded me of Hawaii.
Okay.
When you go to Hawaii, they always talking up Hawaii and how beautiful, you know, come again and we glad. And that was the same in San Antonio.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I enjoyed my assignment there.
Okay.
While there, my daughter started high school, and I was there for 2.5 years, and I got an assignment to Korea, which is unaccompanied. I couldn't take the family with me. So I went to Korea for a year, and on my return, I got stationed again at Fort Knox, Kentucky. And needless to say, my daughter at that time was, I think she was getting ready to begin her senior year. And she told her mom that if she had to stay on the street, that she would stay on the street. She did not want to move. She started high school there and she wanted to graduate.
Yeah.
And luckily, the employer that my wife was working for suggested to my wife that if I leave them in San Antonio, he would fly me back home every 3 months.
Oh, wow.
And that was a good thing, so that happened.
Right.
And I went to Fort Knox, Kentucky, and that was a good assignment because my in-laws, my mother-in-law and father-in-law, live in Louisville.
Okay.
So I stayed with them.
Nice.
And I would commute back and forth. So that was a pretty good assignment.
Right.
And from there, we went to, I'm trying to think now, from Fort Knox, where did I go? I got an assignment to go then, not back to Korea. It slips my mind right now.
Okay.
But by that time, we also had our 3rd child.
Okay.
We had a little boy, as a matter of fact, when we got to San Antonio. And that was, I said, kind of strange because my oldest, my daughter was 15, and my son then was 11. And having a new baby was almost like starting all over again. But it was enjoyable. I enjoyed that.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, you told us that Georgetown was one of your, I guess, did you say top 2 favorites? What
Yes.
did you enjoy about Georgetown, about that assignment?
It was different. It was, I think, that any military person that's going to be on ROTC duty, maybe that should be the last assignment.
Okay.
And I say that because you get out of the military environment.
Okay.
And it's strictly then almost like a civilian environment. So, plus in DC, the 3 years we were there, we still didn't get a chance to see everything that we needed to see. And the great thing about being there was every weekend there was something going on. So being able to be in the Capitol and to visit different sites was educational.
Okay.
You know, and we just really enjoyed it.
Sure. Yes. I imagine, especially with children.
Yes.
It's good.
My daughter, we enrolled her in a Catholic school. As a matter of fact, she would ride to work with me. My wife worked at Georgetown University for a doctor there. And my daughter went to the Catholic school right in front of Georgetown University. And we had my son at the time, he was in a kindergarten. So we enjoyed that and kids enjoyed it.
Sure,
Yes.
sure. So since that's your second, what's your top assignment? What's your top favorite?
Japan.
Okay.
Japan was very unique. And I always said that was the best kept secret in the United States Army.
Wow.
It really was. The people were very friendly and very kind. And the community, the military community, was small, so everyone got a chance to participate in different activities.
Right.
School-wise, you volunteered to be a volunteer coach with the Little League. So everyone was quite active in some extracurricular activities, so that was enjoyable. And you had different ethnic clubs there, and it was social clubs on base, so that was enjoyable.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, we made friends with some couples there that we have been friends with them since 1977.
Wow.
And when we first got here to Mobile, some of the friends that we met back in '77 started meeting once a year. We would meet them and the spouses in different cities. You know, we would and went to Vegas, Florida,
Right.
Mobile. We went to Virginia Beach. So you know that was just good, and we continued that until one of the original members, we lost him. You know. But being in Japan just carries some special memories. You know, we met good friends there.
Okay. Well, tell us, when did you retire?
I retired from the military 1 February 1987
Okay.
from Fort Hood, Texas.
Okay.
And I started back to school at San Antonio College. And for the first year and a half, I got an associate's in business administration. And I got hired by the federal government to work in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
The family stayed in San Antonio.
Right.
And I went up to D.C. And worked there for about a year and a half. And a friend of mine, I say he was a friend, I used to work with this Lieutenant Colonel back at Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio. A job had came open in San Antonio, and we always stayed in contact with each other.
Right.
And it was in my field, and I got a call from him asking me would I like to apply for the job. And I did, and I got selected for that position and moved back to San Antonio.
Okay.
So
Wonderful.
we stayed there total from 1980, I think it was, until 1990 we left.
Okay.
We left.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, what would you say, maybe, if you had to kind of sum up, what was the impact of your military service on your life? And obviously you were a career military, person, but what would you, if you could sum that up, or maybe share some lessons you learned from your military service?
The military was very impactful on my life. It grounded me. And to be in the military and be married, you must have a spouse that not only understands the military, but work with you and enjoy that type of life, because you move practically every 3 to 4 years. The schooling in the military that you get is excellent. I got good training. As a matter of fact, my first time going to college, we were in Japan. And it was rather strange, but being in the military full time and trying to get a degree was kind of rough, but I was able to do that in 2 years, got an associate degree. So I enjoyed that. So overall, I would say the military really prepared me not only for my career after I left the military, because I was doing basically the same thing in civilian life
Right.
that I did while I was in the military.
Right.
And I served a total of 20 years and 1 day in the military. I can tell you that I was not that good at math, so. And then I worked as a civilian for the federal government for 23 years before I retired.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I think that is all the questions we have for you today. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, ma'am, I
Okay.
don't have anything. If
Okay.
you don't have anything, that's
Great.
it.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate that.
You're quite welcome. Okay.
Thank you for watching and have a great day.